Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be building a wall hanger. We're using it for hats in this application, but you can use it for coats, you can use it for umbrellas. I really don't care what you use it for. Keys, the neighbor's children if they misbehave, whatever. Here are the dimensions we are going with. We're going to be using a 1x4 board. The total length of the board is going to be 23.5 inches. We're making two separate ones that we're going to hang in the same area, but they will be offset slightly, and then that will give us enough hanging space for everything we're trying to hang. These dots are going to be my hook locations. This one in the middle is going to be dead center. It's going to be 11 3/4 inch from either end. Then both of these outer ones are going to be 4 1/4 inch from each end. This will give us a 1 inch space between the hats, and it'll give us 1 inch of extra board at the end after the hats have ended. To make this, you'll need about 4 feet of a 1x4 board, and then you will also need some hooks. So I got this was a 6-pack at my local Walmart. This was about $8. A lot of times hardware like this is a lot cheaper to buy locally than it is to buy online. So even if you can get it on a place like Amazon, buying it locally will be less expensive, especially if you have a local hardware store.
I'm going to apologize in advance for recording this with a cold, but we're going to start this project by cutting our two backboards to length and then sanding down all the rough edges to try to get a smooth finish. In this case, I'm sanding using a 120 grit sandpaper, and after this is done, we're going to place the hooks, which requires a little more explanation.
I'm just going to be pre-drilling the holes for these hooks right now. I'm going to stain it prior to putting them on permanently. Before I did that, I wanted to show what I was doing as far as finding where I want to place the hooks. So I know based on this, I want everything to be 4 1/4 inches in from the edge. So I've got that on center, 4 1/4 inches. But as for how high up or down you want it to be, that's really going to be up to your preference and the size of the hook you're using. So what I did is I just slid this up and down at that 4 1/4 inch mark and tried to find a place that I thought looked good. So I thought right about there looked pretty good. So measuring down from the top, that's about 1 1/4 inches down from the top of the board, and I want to make sure I have that same height for all 3 pieces. You also want to make sure you pick out the more pretty side of your board first, and that's going to be the side that faces out towards you normally. So looking at this board, this is my better face. This one does have a bit of little knots in it. So this will be facing out for me, so I'm drilling into this side first.
First, I measure everything very carefully and get each hook exactly where I want it to be. Then I use a drill bit that is not installed in the drill to press through the screw holes on each hook. This makes a really small indent in the board exactly where the screws need to go to hold these hooks into place, and I use these indents to guide the drill when I pre-drill the holes for the screws. After all the holes are pre-drilled, I then break out the stain all of the wood, and then give it ample time to dry out. Because I did this project over the summer, I gave it about 30 minutes to an hour to sit, and that was more than enough time. After that, I screwed in all the hangers, and then this thing is pretty much good to go. The only missing piece is we still have to figure out how we're hanging these on the wall, and I'll elaborate on that now.
These are the completed hangers. You can pretty much hang them on the wall any way you would like. What I'm going to be doing is I have these, and I'll put a couple nails or screws into the wall and then hang them using this. I'm going to install these on the back now, but you can also use a picture hanger, you can use a wire, you can use pretty much any method you prefer.
I attached these picture hangers to the back of my hat hanger using a couple of very small nails, but one of the mistakes I made is I probably didn't take enough time to make sure these were perfectly level with each other on each end of the hat hanger. Because of that, when you see me hanging this on the wall, you'll notice that I have to pull the nail out and readjust it when I'm doing these, because even though the nails in the wall are the same distance from the ceiling, the picture hangers on the back of this hat hanger aren't perfectly level, so it's coming off a little uneven once it's mounted. It's easy enough to adjust and correct, but just something to keep an eye out for. And with everything mounted on the wall, this project is officially completed. I'm gonna go burn out the remnants of my throat with some really hot tea, but in the meantime, that's all I've got for this episode, and thank you guys for watching.